Hello everybody, welcome back.
My name is Icarix and he's Kinagusis, and welcome to our show.
Yes, we're back. We got a nice doozy of an episode this time. Thank you, Icarix.
You're welcome, Kinagusis.
That are known to your faction,
Oh yes,
but to
those.
which
I
you
think
have no
yeah,
line
this
of
is probably
sight,
after I
are
had my
covered by the
little
fog of war.
issue with my PC. I probably talked about earlier, sometime earlier. I had to reset it.
Yes, you were mentioning that earlier.
So, because I had to reset my PC, that means some of the game's settings were, you might say, reset. But, yes, and... So I think I had to record session 7 like 3 times, if I remember correctly. And this is on session 8. But anyway, so... Our army there has driven off some Roman legions. I think this is following our notable victory against Rome. So just seeing what I can do. I'm disbanding those Samnite cavalry to get another load of Samnite mercenaries. Ain't that handy?
Yes, very, very handy indeed. Not exactly out with the old and with the new, but like, it's something approximating it, I suppose.
Ah yes, we have the Heralds of 104 with some new units in that army. I just noticed we got some Ambacti and Atgenios Lankia in there.
Yeah, who are they?
Ambacti are a pretty powerful unit of Iberian swords. They're sort of champions. They look pretty cool. And Adgenios Lankia are basically kind of Gallic heavy spears. So the Ambacti are a little bit more, like, you might say, aggressive compared to Scutarii, but they've less melee defense and missile block because they've smaller shields.
There's nowhere we can go.
Because they've got the Kytra shield, which is the same as the Kytrati. They just have better armor.
Do they have those oval shields
No.
that you're so fond of?
No, that's what I said. They have a smaller shield called a Kytra.
Ah,
The Kytra is a small little buckler type roundy shield. It's not.
basically a pebble on a stick.
It's just a little buckler shield. So it's small circular shield. It's small. Seems to be kind of an Iberian type shield. You know? That's why you've got Kytrati, because they're bearing a Kytra. Now, they're the units I used to use in my armies, but don't anymore. Because they got Libyan Thoreos swords. But anyways, having a gander at my diplomacy. It looks like I try to get some demand money off the Numidians.
Before the sun sets.
And it works. I got 1,500 off them.
Reasonable offer, if I do say so myself.
Yes.
I wouldn't call it an offer that they couldn't refuse, but it's like an offer where it was the best option for them, honestly.
Yes. And I use it to recruit a unit of Apurii Extraordinarii. And it looks like I'm looking to recruit some more mercenaries for that little garrison force, the Sacred Company. In case the Romans try to attack Taras.
So the Romans are very vengeful, I know that.
Well, I think the AI is particularly determined to control Italy.
I know, all the same. Felt worth pointing out.
Oh yeah. In fairness, one thing of note is, since I'm playing with Age of Hellenism, the Romans are actually kind of weaker.
Really?
Yeah, Age of Hellenism, one of the things it does is it reduces Rome's auto-resolve bonus, and I think boosts some of the Hellenic factions like Seleucids and Diadochoi and all that sort of stuff.
Okay.
So it slightly nerfs Rome in DEI. You know, compared to vanilla DEI. So that kind of does mean Rome's a little bit weaker compared to like the base game, because I'm using Age of Hellenism. But yeah, so my governor there is leveled up, so I'm providing some of the bonuses. So I had to go out to reduce some ship upkeep.
It's lucky that the AI programs in a reliable governor, I have to say.
Well, the AI doesn't do governors.
Yeah.
After all, this is the DEI system of a governor general.
Makes sense.
You know, having a general in a city and trying to, you know, give him skills good for administration is something unique to DEI, and only players can do it. But yeah. Ooh, a great fire in Eralicum. So our general here leveled up so we can boost his movement range and replenishment.
Oh, goody!
Ready for battle.
Yes, it is.
Setting forth in the name of Carthage.
Oh, we're moving them further inland to Italy.
Yes, we're moving them further to Taras,
Ready for
Tarentum, which I believe should be on the complete other side of Italy's coast. In real life.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think it's right, like, at that, you know, edge towards Epirus. It's a little bit further inward.
You think they would have known that when they were programming this?
Well, you have to make all sorts of concessions with the map. This is not a one-to-one map of Italy. There's a lot more settlements in Italy, for example, that just aren't shown.
Okay.
So some of it is just a matter of concessions and what just kind of works. Plus, I imagine DEI, they just chose, even if it's not perfect, to refer to this as Tarentum. That gives you an excuse to get all those Tarentine units. You know. So even if it's not perfect, best you could do.
how can I serve?
I guess it doesn't. I guess it's not a big deal or anything like that.
It's just one of the little things, if you know the actual location. I've looked at a map of Italy and I've seen, oh, Tarentum is somewhere else. Taras is the Greek name for the city. Tarentum was the Latin name. So I'm going to be a little bit, you know, interchanging with my naming of it as either Tarentum or Taras.
I see you're building up some fortifications in Cartura.
Qartuba. Well, disbanding the barracks there.
Oh, right.
We
Okay.
don't need it. It's pretty secure. So, yeah. Sure, I suppose I probably don't really need those barracks in Africa because I don't do much recruiting there, but I just still am upgrading stuff there.
You never know. It could be useful in an emergency.
Perhaps. Well, Carthage has mercenaries for an emergency.
Oh, that's nice. A nice increase in population there.
Yeah, population surplus. And decided to build an agora in Qartuba. I think that's now modern day Cordoba. Maskia. I think in vanilla Rome too, that's Qart-Hadasht, referring to New Carthage.
Yeah?
Because when the Carthaginians settled into Iberia, they created a city called Qart-Hadasht, which means new city,
Oh, right.
which is what Carthage is from also. Carthage is called Qart-Hadasht because it means new city. So I think the Romans called it Carthago Nova, New Carthage.
Did they ever have a term for like old Carthage?
Just Carthago.
Carthago.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm disbanding some units to replace them with some kind of better ones. And add more variety.
Sure, diversity is important.
Yes. But yes, I'm also thinking of disbanding those Italian swords. And I do. And the samurai
assuming-
cavalry.
Italian swords are good, aren't they?
Oh yeah, they're fine. Italian mercenary swordsmen. Oh, I even disband those Brutians.
Well, you do an awful lot of disbanding.
Well, it
We fight
means the
for
army
you,
is
my lord.
a bit cheaper, and also means you can recruit other units. Should I just spam one of those Libyan Thoreo spears to get some Tarantine Thoreo spears? They're about the same in strength, it's just variety. I like doing variety.
There's nothing wrong with variety.
Yes. You know, when I play as Rome, I like to keep armies fairly consistent, except when I get to like the Marian reforms and Imperial. That's when I just start going a full ham on auxiliaries and get different types of auxiliaries. It's kind of fun to have an army where you've got like one unit of auxiliary spearmen from Gaul and another unit from like Syria. That is definitely one of the fun things about playing as Rome, are their later game auxiliaries. You get what are basically like legionaries, but they're from your 4th class, foreigners.
Move forward
And they all look pretty cool and unique.
at ease.
Plus it gives you spear infantry, which Rome kind of loses by the Marian reforms. Because their spears, the Principe, not Principes, Triadii, turn into swordsmen as veteran legionaries. So yes.
Nice combination.
Fight for you, my lord.
Yeah. So that's our current army, our new model army, kind of.
The Heralds of the Hundreds 4.
104, yeah. The Volkai Hectosages got destroyed.
Oh, we're officially in the year 258 BC.
Yes, in the year 258 BCE. So, I think technically in history this is probably like what, during the First Punic War, maybe?
Oh,
It's certainly before the second, because the second was like 218 to 202, 201. I know more about the second Punic War than the first. I should relearn more about the first.
just never caught your interest.
The second one is pretty much widely regarded as, I'd say, right, as the most interesting, because that has Hannibal Barca.
Oh, I guess that makes sense.
The first war had his father, Hamilcar, but Hannibal was a child. Well, he was a child by the time it ended, and that war lasted like 20 years. We got
Oh.
something. Massalia have tried to attack my ally, the Massili.
Well, we gotta go in there and rescue him.
Yes, I decided to join in the war. So we have our first battle against 2 Massalian full stacks.
Our first and only battle of the session tonight.
Oh, only one battle.
Yes. It's a really lengthy one. I made sure of that.
Oh, well, so
Because
this is a
that's how
river
commi-
crossing battle.
Because that's how committed I am.
Well then, so yeah, we have a river crossing battle.
Oh, is this the one where like sometimes the monitor or like the amount of stuff going on kind of causes the PC to just crap out or something?
Well, it's one of those cases where the AI has a tendency to... Yeah, over 35 minutes. It's one of those where the AI can either do one of 2 things. They can either split their army in 2 and attack from 2 different areas, or in one area where they funnel them all into one area.
I see you got a bunch of Mbakti there.
Yes, that's the Ambakti. And they've got those nifty masks. I really like those war masks.
I'm assuming they're your cavalry, or are they just like as a form of backup or something?
Who, the one firing?
The Mbakti, yeah.
My Ambakti are infantry.
Oh, they're infantry. Okay, never
Yeah,
mind.
they're not on horseback.
Oh, what are they throwing there? Javelins?
Arrows. I think those are my Sardinian spear archers.
Ah,
Those are Ligurian swordsmen. They're not very good.
who do we have to defend?
We've got our Ambakti, of course. We've got Libyan Thoreo spears. We have a mix of Greek mercenary hoplites and Libyan Phoenician hoplites. Our swords are a mix of Libyan Thoreo swords, Brutian swords, Skitarii, I think, and Mbakti. Our ranged troops are Sardinian spear archers. Our cavalry is probably our general's bodyguard cavalry, Numidian cavalry, and probably Libby Phoenician cavalry. So that's what we've got as our army to defend.
Coming up the rear for extra support.
You know, Massalia outnumbers us. They're 2 full stacks.
It's going to be a tight one.
Oh yeah.
Literally, if you think about it.
There's a river crossing, so yeah.
As you command.
Looks like we've aggroed the enemy general to try and attack.
Ooh.
Oh, he stopped short of going right to our hoplites.
Well, of course, it's a little bit overwhelming for them.
And my Libyans are throwing their javelins. I forgot to mention we've got elephants in our army also.
Ooh.
See it? Our hoplites fended off that assault.
Can they hold out for much longer?
Well, we'll have to see. The general's charging in again. Like the Lektoi Hippes. Picked cavalry. That's what that means. Picked horsemen.
Ah.
Yeah. It'd be fun to do, I think it'd be nice to do a Seleucid campaign, because then I can talk a lot about the Seleucid military. Because I've been researching that for my thesis.
Obviously, yes.
So it's pretty interesting to learn about the Seleucid military.
What do you think, dear viewers? Do you think he should do what? Do you think we should? Our next storyline or campaign should be about the Seleucids?
Seleucids.
Seleucids?
I know.
Maybe-
I know. As I said to you, we haven't said to others, but the current possible campaigns next might be either Marian Empire or Seleucids. We might see if we can work to incorporate both, but that might take some time.
Might also be a good idea to let the viewers weigh in a little bit to see what they'd like as well.
I suppose, but how do we manage that with our current rate? We might link a poll at some point and go, vote in this if you like. Could be interesting to see, but we'll figure it out.
Yes, dear viewers, we will eventually figure it out.
Yes, the main thing here is we have some Gallic Levy spearmen attacking. Our hoplites are holding firm. These are Libby Phoenician hoplites.
We're holding firm, for the most part.
Yes. Yeah, I think this. I'm trying to think. I'd say by this point, yeah, I'm probably playing with 1.2.8, so Massalia would have gotten their overhaul, kind of, at this point. I think it was around that patch Massalia and other Greek colonies got overhauled.
Oh, it's a narrow storm over there.
Yep. I like using archers, to be honest. I sort of just have a preference for them over slingers or javelin men.
Why?
Just because I feel like they're a lot easier to be more hands-off about, and I tend to be like to be more hands-off.
I think slingers might be a tiny bit more powerful if you think about it.
Well, I guess the way you put it like this, it's all a matter of they each have some strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, of course.
Slingers have the greatest range, but technically the weakest damage, although they do have pretty good armor piercing. Archers, javelins tend to have the better damage, missile damage, but the weakest range. Now, they also, though not always, will be pretty good at melee. Take Peltas, for example, they're good at melee. Archers are like kind of in between. Their missiles do more damage than slings, but their range usually isn't as good as slingers. They're kind of in between. They're better damage than slingers, but not as good range. Weaker damage to javelins, but better range. Also, they can arc their shots a bit better. That's the basic idea. Some archers could be good at melee, special types, but most aren't. But yeah, I just kind of have that sort of preference for using archers. But I do accept there are strengths and weaknesses to everything. And Carthage is some of the best slingers in the game. That's why I use them a lot over anything else. But
The
yeah,
enemy forces have just squeezed in there through the side, bypassed our swordsmen entirely.
well, not our swordsmen, our hoplites.
Our hoplites. They bypassed most of our hoplites.
Yeah, a small group of them managed to slip around. But yeah,
What do you think they'll think? You think they'll take them from behind or fight off against our defending forces there?
well, we'll have to see. But it looks like a lot of their javelins are hitting my Libyans.
Well,
Yeah.
the Libyans are still holding firm, standing strong.
Yeah, well,
That's a
they have
good
big
sign.
shields. That does absorb quite a bit of missiles. The bigger the shield, the better the missile block. And now I'm
They
charging
won't
my
be able-
Libyans in.
No, they won't be able to stay there forever.
And now my Libyans charging into attack as Ligurian swordsmen.
Trying to pick off those sneaky little fuckers. Oh, that was rough.
Yeah. You see how this goes.
They spilled the ketchup all over.
So yeah,
At least it'll make for fresh meat.
yes. And now the enemy is rushing in our Greek hoplites, rushing to our Greek hoplites.
Coming in at full force.
Yep.
They've had enough. They've had enough of this shit.
But they're charging the Massalian hoplites, which is probably not the great way to use hoplites.
It seems to be pretty bloody effective from the looks of things.
And a lot of them are moving around. There's my Numidians throwing their javelins. So a big old
Nice, it's
brawl
like-
going on.
There's an all-out brawl. No winners.
There's the Ligurians fighting. Ooh,
Oh my god. Oh Jesus.
I think the Ligurians are falling back. Yeah, the Ligurians are kind of interesting people. I don't know a lot about them, but they're kind of interesting.
What do you know about them?
Well, they resided in the north of Italy, which the Romans called Gallia Cisalpina, which means something like Gaul on our side of the Alps. But I think they were originally, if my understanding is correct, like most of the people of that northern Italy area, originally they would have been related to the Etruscans. But around the 4th century, maybe, I think a lot of Celtic tribes began to settle in that area. And so a lot of the inhabitants of North Italy and the Alpine region got very Celticized.
Ooh.
So they're kind of Celticized Italians, connected to the Etruscans, I believe. Now, the Etruscans are not related to the Romans necessarily. The Etruscan language is what they call an isolate, so it's not related to anything. That's known.
Alright.
But they did influence the Romans
In what way exactly?
culturally, linguistically to some extent. Some Etruscan
they're
words
kinda like
came
the-
into Latin.
They're
and
kind of like
writing.
precursors or something.
Huh?
Precursors, like came before or something.
Kind
I
of.
don't know.
They were before Rome became the dominant power in Italy. It was the Etruscans. So
You could say that they're like the original Roman Empire, I suppose.
well, there wouldn't have been an empire. They were just one of the bigger city-states in Italy.
Yeah, I suppose.
But the Etruscans, and that's, yeah.
My point is, like, they obviously had a lot of their cultural influence, like, spread into Rome around that
Oh, yeah.
time.
Also, their writing is one of the major influences to the Latin script, which we use today. I think the Romans basically took the Etruscan alphabet and modified it to suit Latin, which
Basically
meant
like it's basically like an alpha version or something.
that basically they took the Etruscan alphabet, which is based off of Greek, and modified it to suit Etruscan or to suit Latin. Part of that was by taking Greek letters. But yeah, so this battle does not look to be going too well. Our hoplites are starting to suffer heavy casualties.
Yeah, it's like a tug of war. The enemy side seems to have the best strength. And
Well, the units are probably a little bit weaker, but they just have more numbers.
strength in numbers, though.
That's what I'm saying. They have more numbers, so
Yeah.
yeah. I have my elephants deployed a bit, and I'm moving them back.
And they can't take much more of this. Wimps.
So yeah. There you go, man. I'm back to you there with the Brutians.
They're the best reinforcements we've got.
Pretty much. And back to you are pretty powerful. And they are pretty fast for heavy infantry.
That's impressive.
Yeah, they have like 3 speed, which is better than most heavy infantry units, which have 2 speed. So they're faster than Scutari, but was having the same amount of armor.
The enemy has a swamp there.
Yeah.
I think it's safe to say we're pretty much fucked on this side.
Well, we'll just have to see, won't we?
No.
My Libyan
Hopefully-
Phoenician cavalry are fighting.
Hopefully those reinforcements back there could lend us a helping hand.
There's my Scutari fighting some Massalian hoplites. I think those are the noble hoplites, picked hoplites, whatever they're called.
Really?
Yeah, I think those are the more elite Massalian hoplites. Which they got a nice visual touch up for 1.2.8. Showing a lot more Celtic and Iberian influences. Because Massalia is a Greek colony in what is modern day Marseille.
Wow.
It's kind of where I think Marseille gets its name, as far as I'm aware. Possibly.
I could never get that impression.
Yeah, so there were Greeks like to create colonies basically all over the place. So they had one in southern Gaul. They had some colonies in Italy, particularly southern Italy. Syracuse is a Greek colony. The Bosporan Kingdom, which is kind of located around, I think, Crimea, was a Greek colony. Of course, you had people known as the Indo-Greeks, which were, well, Indo-Greek, if you know what the Indo stands for. But yes, so Greeks were kind of all over the place. Yeah, so my Libyan Threo spirits have routed.
The enemy has us swamped on the right hand side.
Yeah, I still got my Ambacti in reserve.
We're pushing through steadily and surely.
Yeah, certainly not looking too good. But we still have quite a bit of time left, so we'll see how this goes.
They might be able to turn things around, you never know.
Yeah. Do you remember the outcome of this battle?
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure we lose. But you never know. There's always a suspense in not knowing.
Yeah. So I think the only way we're going to win is through timeout. Because I have the battle limit set to 40 minutes, but if this is less than 40 minutes, then yeah. Unlikely we win.
It's around 30 minutes.
Yeah, about 35 minutes, so... Yeah, my 13 spear archers are fighting. I've got my elephants in the fight.
The only form of reinforcements we have at this point for this side.
Yeah.
Playing around with them like a Lego set.
Well, wait till you
Pretty
see. Wait till you see the time we can start playing around with Indian elephants.
Really? How
Well,
long?
I don't know. It depends. Whatever time we get to do a Seleucid or Maria campaign,
Oh, yeah, good point.
because they're the factions that have Indian elephants and Bactria, but there's no plans to play Bactria anytime soon.
The anticipation's killing you, isn't it?
So yeah. So he's charging a general in.
He could help rally the troops.
Helps a little. If his rally ability is still there. Could have been used up at this point.
The elephants are surrounded on all sides. It's not looking good for them. Got nowhere to turn, nowhere to escape.
We'll see. I can't have them engage in the fight, but yeah. They're doing their best. And
Didn't
then
mean
those
no
are
luck
still
up
those
there.
are still the African war elephants, not the Atlas elephants.
What's the difference?
Atlas elephants have more numbers, more armoured, and have towers on them with javelin men. There's 36 of them in the unit rather than 18.
Might be a little weaker, but double the numbers.
Well, they're actually stronger.
Oh, right, never mind.
As I said, they have more armour, better stats, and they have towers on them, on their backs, with javelin men. So still nothing compared to Indian elephants,
Oh no, nothing will ever beat Indian elephants. That's just a guarantee.
because they're bigger, although the game doesn't represent the size difference. At least from what I remember saying, they couldn't apply the size difference. It just caused problems. Yes, my am back to your attacking the enemy cavalry. It's the general. Yeah, probably, yeah. Yeah,
looking good
enemy
there.
general. He routed.
They're fucked. Well, I think they've officially crossed the other side of the river. They're pretty much a battering ram at this point.
Yeah, but we're still holding firm. I am back to your fighting.
How much longer?
Well, we'll just have to see. Yeah, also they're towering of a lot of these guys.
Tell me about it.
Imagine that though, a big tall dude fighting at you and he's got a mask. Wouldn't that be terrifying?
I guess it would depend on what kind of mask it was.
Well, it depicts a face,
Well, I know. I guess,
an
like,
expressionless face.
I would anticipate that they would have these sort of different masks to strike different kinds of fear within their opponents or something. I don't know.
Well, the mask models in this are just two different types. A silver blank face and a kind of yellowish bearded face.
Or maybe in a future update, if maybe they could research the kind of masks they wore instead of just having the two by default or something. I
Yeah,
don't know
we'll
much-
see. I remember there was a bit. I remember Semin was kind of wondering as to what evidence was there for the masks, and he couldn't really find anything. Last I heard.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought there'd be a few more sources.
Well, I don't know. See, who knows what sources were available? There's not a whole lot I think that's easily available about the Iberians or Celtiberians. There is a book I have my eye on actually by Fernando Quesada Sanz that's about the Iberians and Celtiberians. It's not out yet. Well, kind of. The book has been out for years, but this is an English translation that is about to be released in like October.
Not too long of a wait.
Yeah, so I'm going to try and get my hands on that. It's by, I think, Pen and Sword Books. And I've their recent published book on Antiochus the Great Army by Jean-Charles Duplessis. So yeah. Also, I've also got their I have an e-copy of the book on the Thracians by Chris Webber. So yeah, I don't have too many pen and sword related books, but they're kind of similar to Osprey, but probably bigger books. Osprey are kind of nifty if you want some pretty short, image-heavy reference books on like military stuff. I have a few Osprey books myself, actually. But yeah.
Oh, the blood is spilling. The blood spilling everywhere, and the elephants are scramming for any form of conflict whatsoever.
Yeah. My Brutians are holding on, also.
You're still doing surprisingly well.
Well, again, the whole thing is I have the individual unit advantage. They just have the numbers. And the terrain, tactical advantage is more to them. You know, that's the problem. This is probably not the ideal fight for me, a river crossing battle. Especially at their numbers.
What would make it more ideal for you?
If it was a fort battle, that would have probably been better.
I have noticed that fort battles are your forte.
Well, once it's not necessarily my forte, just that I can do pretty well at them when they happen, depending on the faction I play, but Hellenic factions especially because they're hoplites. And the AI isn't exactly the smartest at using them, at fighting them.
Ooh, that's messy down there.
Yeah.
That's
My
like
Ambactos, or Ambactus, this is Latin, is fighting. Yeah. Now I'm rushing my Sardinian spear archers to help. So I hope you're enjoying this, dear viewers. Certainly quite the messy brawl.
That's what makes it all the more glorious.
Yes. Ooh.
Ooh.
Got cut down.
Ooh, that was rough.
As I say, the individual advantages on my end, just too many of the enemy. Ooh, tossed over.
Out of my way, bitch!
There are a lot of fun kill animations. I like watching the fun kill animations.
I've never noticed any of these animations before. That was the first time I've actually witnessed one.
I've seen a lot of them.
What kind of... Do they have any other kinds of animations?
Another fun kill animation that I like is when the... how do you put this? The would-be deceased knocks down the killer and proceeds to keep punching them until the killer, with their sword, stabs them.
That's a pretty funny one.
Yeah. So you see the guy who's gonna get killed has him down on the ground punching him, and then suddenly sword gets right at him. It's quite fun to watch.
Hopefully we're able to catch one of those in an upcoming video.
Yeah, I say we should. I've seen him a lot when playing as Rome. I think we've seen some of them. Yeah. Sure, those I'm back to using their falcatas.
Oh, that doesn't sound good.
He's surrounded. They're surrounded.
What do we have out there?
We got those guys, so we're holding. Looks like we're doing pretty okay in this front.
For the most part.
I suppose if we were able to successfully break that enemy front there, we could possibly move our leftover troops over to that other side and possibly relieve those Ambacti.
It's a possibility.
I don't know if that's what we were able to successfully do here. It's been quite a long time. But we'll just have to see what happens. Because I actually don't have any memory of how this one goes. Not for sure. But yeah.
Well, the enemy seems to be either retreating or moving further inland. Or they're routing, maybe.
And there's the Ambakti surrounded but holding on. Granted, it's not actually good to completely surround a unit.
Why's that?
Because if a bunch of units are surrounding one unit, that means all the surrounding units are not able to fight effectively. They're just going to get exhausted. You need to have like one unit against another unit straight up in front, and maybe another unit cycle charging from behind. Having multiple units fight a single unit just straight on is not ideal. It just means all the fighting units are exhausting themselves and fighting less efficiently.
But doesn't it also help to box me in as well?
Yes, but the thing is that this is the game, it's the way the game computes everything.
Oh, okay then.
And again, this stuff can't be changed by the devs. They can only do their best to influence some of these things, so yeah. But yeah, they're valiantly holding up.
Your elephants are dead.
Oh yeah, my elephants are long gone. But my
Made
Ambakti
sure.
are holding on pretty hard, solidly. But now they look like they have broken.
Oh shit. How are we doing over here?
Looks like we're chasing down some enemies. Looks like they probably all look. They all routed. So yeah, fast forward. So I think my plan was to have the Libby Phoenicians probably lure the enemy to attack them, whilst they move the rest of my forces around to hit them from behind.
Hopefully they're coming in now from the rear to join in the fight.
But for now, we're just trying to let guys rest and see what there happens. Over 380 kills, and about 45 casualties.
That's not too bad.
As I said, they're pretty damn good, the Ambakti.
Never had any down in my mind.
All the bodies there.
I wonder if for ketchup are. Probably tomato ketchup.
Isn't it only made with tomatoes?
Oh, that's messy.
Yeah, a lot of bodies there, even elephant bodies.
It's gonna be a hell of a job for the pickup crew.
Yeah.
Hell of a night.
Well, in fairness, I think in those days you wouldn't have had it pick-and-proof bodies just left there. Maybe people took some bodies to bury them, but yeah.
Oh, they're running for the hills.
Yep. Let's go also the what looks like they're Monte Fortino helmets. The Monte Fortino helmet is the helmet the Romans copied. I think it became the basis of all their main military helmets for quite some time.
Yeah?
Yep. That's what has an Italian sounding name despite being a Celtic helmet. I think its design got simplified for the Coolus helmet, which was also quite popular.
Okay.
I think the Imperial so-called Gallic helmet was based off of Monte Fortino helmets, I think, but modified. I think, but it was based off of Gaulish helmets. As I probably said before, the Romans did a lot to copy from the Celts. Did a lot of copying.
An awful lot of plagiarism on their end.
Well, I suppose it's just simple pragmatism.
Yeah, I suppose.
They have pretty solid gear. They're pretty hardy warriors, so you might as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, moving our forces around. Because the enemy's going to have to chase the Ambakti. They can't see the rest of my army. They've lost sight of them, just focus on the Ambakti. So if I just waited a while, I probably could just get the timeout victory. Because I have these set to like 40 minutes. Which means in battles where I'm defending, if the timer goes down to 0, I win. Whereas if I'm attacking and the timer goes to 0, I lose. So because I'm defending in this battle, if the timer goes down to 0, I win. I was probably quite tempted to do that in this battle. I don't think I did.
Why not?
I don't know. So I decided best to play a little bit fair. I don't remember for sure. It's been quite a long time since I recorded this. And of course I'm only just looking at this footage now.
Well, at least they're having a good old rest.
Yeah, so they get their replenishment. They're getting their fatigue sorted.